Hey there guys, what's up? Ragtter here, welcoming you back to the Pokemon trading card game online. This is a new fairy type deck that I have been working up, and I'm quite pleased with it so far. It is incomplete, I am missing a few cards that really would make it tick, but this is a working draft and it is pretty strong so far. It holds its own relatively well, even with the missing cards. So, let's go over what I'm running. I run a single Florges EX. Florges EX has lead, which lets me get a supporter card, so this can be a good way to get some draw engines into my hand early on if I am not packing any. And then it has the Bright Garden attack, where it does 20 damage times the number of grass and fairy type Pokemon that I have in play. So because I run Leafeon, and let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 fairies, I will almost always have something that will be on the board and powering up Florges basically. So 6 different types of fairies, doubles of most of these, plus the 2 Leafeons. I'm usually pretty good to go, and Florges can get some early KOs. Now are the 2 main cards in this deck. This is Gardevoir EX, and Shining Wind for its attack. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. Is not bad at 100 damage, but really Gardevoir is here for Mega Gardevoir EX. Now at 210 HP, this is a bulky Pokemon. And with Brilliant Arrow, this attack does 30 damage times the number of fairy energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Now I run 8 fairy type energy, so I can potentially do 240 points of damage with one attack, if I get all of my fairy type energy out there and none of it gets discarded. Gardevoir EX in its Mega form is devastatingly powerful, and I wish to have more. That's probably what I'll end up taking Mew EX out for, is a second Mega Gardevoir EX. But what we also run are the Spritzy and Aromatisse. And what Aromatisse lets me do is move all fairy type energy around from one Pokemon to another. I can do this as often as I want, and it is a very valuable tool. Now you might think, well, why do you really need that? You can just put 3 onto Gardevoir and then put a bunch onto everything else. And that is because of Fairy Garden. Now, any Pokemon that I have, well, that my opponent has too, that has a fairy type energy attached to it has no retreat cost. So the idea is to spread energy around, retreat as I please, get in and out of good and bad situations, and all the while Aromatisse will make sure my attackers always have the energy that they need. Notice here that all the Pokemon that I use, like Aegislash and Leafeon, require a colorless energy. So having as little as 1 fairy type energy on Leafeon, and as many as 3 on Aegislash, is really all I need to function. I can swap this around as much as I need, and this is where the deck really shines, because it's very hard to pin down a KO on a Pokemon when I get a Fairy Garden out, and this is another card I need more copies of. But, like I said, this is its early draft stage. And another significant card that I forgot to point out is Xerneas. So Xerneas will let me pick 2 of my benched Pokemon, and then for each of those, I can attach a fairy type energy from my deck to them. So Xerneas will get all 8 of these fairy type energies out in 4 turns, and that will let me power up my other cards. Now, I don't need to necessarily use all 4 of those turns, but it doesn't hurt. So Leafeon is my answer to big opposing Pokemon. That was very difficult to say. By its Energy Crush, which will deal more damage based on the energy that all of my opponent's Pokemon has. Golly. Opponent's Pokemon. You try saying that 3 times fast. And then we have Aegislash EX, who is basically my answer to special energy users, because he won't take any damage from them. And I can slap some fairy type energy on him, and actually make him a decent attacker. 40 damage a turn isn't great, but when he can't be hurt in turn, well, you see how that math adds up. So this is my fairy type deck so far. I run 4 double colorless energy, 8 fairy type energy, 32 trainers, 16 Pokemon. All in all, it works pretty well so far, and I will actually show you a game demonstrating how powerful it can be. So let's swap over right now. So, here we go. We are looking for an opponent. This is done in post. I have already had this match. So I can actually offer a bit of post-commentary insight based on the decisions that I made. So we go for Tails Never Fails, and I actually get to go first. And that's pretty significant because I do have a couple evolutions in this deck that really benefit from just being out on the field already. And that would be Spritzy and Aromatisse, and Eevee and Leafeon. So I get Xerneas for my first Pokemon, and this is just the most optimal way I can go. Now my opponent has Lucario EX and Excadrill EX, and these both look pretty devastating. I'm not really sure what to make of them though. And a Makahita. So I get a Florges that I can lead with, and a hand that I'm not really too thrilled about. I don't have any energy to start with, so I drop the Muscle Band onto Florges just to give it a bit more KOing power. I drop the Hypnotoxic Laser onto Lucario just to get some damage over time, and I decide to end away the rest of my hand, and again, still no Fairy energy. I decide to drop a second Xerneas because I'm starting to get the feeling that I might need one, with the pace that my Fairy-type drawing is going, and I'm debating putting energy on anything. I decide to save the double colorless for when I'll need them later. Now Lucario, it drinks a bit of the Hypnotoxic Laser poison, and my opponent shows two more Pokemon EXs in the form of Malamar and Yveltal. I don't really know what my opponent's theme here is. I guess it's having strong fighting types, and then using Yveltal to take advantage of all their energy. I don't know, it's strange to me. But Malamar's ability has Xerneas put to sleep once he attaches that energy to it, and I do not wake up in time. I also don't get the Crushing Hammer discard, so that's not significant though. I was just basically looking to waste one of his energies. It's not a big deal that I missed it, but it is kind of getting to be a big deal that Xerneas won't wake up. I mean, come on now. So he draws 3 cards, and he is just asking for me to end him again. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have anything. He lays down a Trick Coin, so obviously there's going to be some flipping involved here, and Xerneas finally decides to get its lazy butt up, and it's time to start some energy farming, basically. So he's got a special energy attached to that Lucario, so if I can draw Aegislash, that would be very significant, and sure enough, there comes Aegislash. Now all I need is my Fairy Garden to bring him out safely, and I'll be pretty set. I slap a Muscle Band onto Aegislash because 60 damage is way stronger than 40. Like that minuscule amount of damage actually adds up. Being able to do 120 in 2 turns instead of 3 is a big deal. So I Geomancy and energy onto Florges and onto Aegislash. I'm basically starting to get these guys all set up. And once Xerneas faints, I can actually bring in Aegislash and wall the Lucario completely. I'm expecting him to try and take advantage of that, but it's such a strong defense, being able to have a Pokemon completely immune to special energy out there. Like, forcing him to play around that is very significant tempo that I get, because he's not using that to take advantage of getting KOs and the whatnot. So I use my Startling Megaphone to get rid of his Trick Coin, after I end away an Ultra Ball. Not end, Sycamore away an Ultra Ball. I'm able to Bicycle 2 more cards, and at this point I can now Fairy Transfer the energy off of Florges and onto Aegislash, and start harassing this Lucario, because it can't hurt me because of its fighting energy. So Lucario is getting quite low. Aegislash is sitting here all nice and shiny. He's ready for whatever Lucario can deal because he's got a special energy. He can't hurt Aegislash at all. If I had a Fairy Garden, I could really take advantage of this by bringing in Aegislash whenever he had Malamar or Lucario out, but I am just waiting to draw that. Other than that, at this point I should start setting up Gardevoir EX and Mega Gardevoir EX, but he Lysanders out Aromatisse. He's obviously a bit mad about my ability to transfer energy, and he would like for me to not do that anymore. He would like it if I should stop that mean thing that I'm doing. So he takes out my Aromatisse, nets his second prize card, and Aegislash is out here with a vengeance now. "You broke my friend," he says. So I evolve an Eevee up, and this Leafeon will basically be my last resort Pokemon. I can bring in Leafeon whenever things get a bit hairy, and it can usually get a KO based on how powerful my opponent's Pokemon have become. I get a Gardevoir Spirit Link and decide to slap that onto Gardevoir EX. I play down another Eevee because it never hurts to have 2 Leafeons, considering its frailty. Aegislash manages to get me 2 prize cards, 1 fairy and another Aromatisse. Too soon. Too soon. And he leaves a Scraggy out here, obviously as death fodder. I hesitate to use that word in such a happy Pokemon game, but it is a shield that buys him an extra turn, but it's going to get me another prize card. I get out my Leafeon, I start to power up Gardevoir EX, and I Colress away my hand, and look at the goodies that I got. There's Mega Gardevoir EX, ah, glorious. And there's my Fairy Garden. Now, I decide, I'll take the bait. We'll get rid of Scraggy, and I'll bring in Mega Gardevoir EX a little later. Now, Yveltal EX comes in, and does a rather significant amount of damage to Aegislash EX. Like, golly, that's not okay. But we're going to power up Gardevoir EX, Mega Gardevoir EX I should say, and because of my Fairy Garden, since I have energy attached to Aegislash that is of the Fairy variety, I can switch it out, and I can bring in Mega Gardevoir EX. Now Mega Gardevoir EX is out here and able to threaten the vast majority of what my opponent has left. It won't be a 1-hit KO, but it will be a 2-hit KO onto this Yveltal. Next turn, I will be able to 1-hit KO pretty much anything that he brings out. Not 1-hit KO, sorry. I'm over-exaggerating how many Fairy-type energies I have. But I will be able to threaten all of his Pokemon, and Gardevoir EX cannot be 2-hit KO'd with what he currently has on the board. So, it's time to just start slapping some energy out there. We put it onto Leafeon, just because now Leafeon can attack, and we have it in case of emergency. Yveltal EX goes down, I get my 2 prize cards. I don't really see how I can lose at this point. He is going to try for a last-ditch effort on taking out Gardevoir EX. The ability goes off where I fall asleep once he attaches energy, and he tries to attack with Maximar, but he only gets the 1 attack off. And Gardevoir EX wakes up, and before I can deal the final blow, my opponent forfeits, knowing that he can no longer win at this point. So, that was a demonstration of my Fairy-type deck. I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to showing you some more. Maybe once this deck has a bit more cards. Until next time guys, take care and have a good one. Bye-bye!